All right, welcome back to the Morgan Thomas Show with my co-host, Big Al, Allen Adams. Al, let's get to segment number 2, and that's our Week 12 picks against the spread. Before I do that, though, I wanted to pull up our rankings right now, our win-loss record. Right now, Al, you're 156 and 100. That's your win-loss, and I am 149 and 107. So I'm first, and you're first, and I'm fifth. I'm 58%. You're 61% against the spread, which I think is pretty good against the spread, to be honest with you. We do ACC games and we do big or top 25 games. So that's all encompassing of those types of games. But on the show, we talk to you ACC games and top 25 versus top 25 teams. And we're going to run through it here. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Born ready, my man. So we're going to start with the ACC. First game on the slate, North Carolina at Pittsburgh. Now, remember, I always give this disclaimer, it's Monday night. So the spread just came out. If you're watching this or listening to this or listening on the radio or a podcast, it could be Thursday night, could be Friday night. The spread may have changed. Just keep that in mind. But this is the spread as of this show, live show Monday night. Pitt is giving -4.5. What you got in that game?
Well, the Coastal. It's one of those Coastal games again, okay? Look, both had a week off, and Pitt, has been impossible to figure out all year. But I'm going to take the home team to cover and take Pittsburgh -4.5 points against the Tar Heels.
I like that. Both teams didn't play this week, so they had a week to kind of prep for this game.
Yep.
Pitt has won 4 of their last 5, but UNC seems to win every other week. And they lost the last time they came out. So this is their week to win, Al. They've played Virginia close. They played Virginia Tech close. Pitt has a better rushing defense, which I love to look at. Yeah. But UNC really passes a ton, and Pitt doesn't really do good against the pass. Sam Howell has over 2,000 yards passing now. So I'm going to take North Carolina plus the points on this. They're going to play them close, and I need that extra couple points because North Carolina may very well lose by stepping out of bounds with 1 second left. But I think that 4.5 points is going to help me in the long run. So I'm going with North Carolina. Next up is an off game, Alabama State at Florida State. Florida State really needs this, but it's not really so much about this week as it is they went to Boston College and won that game, a game that you and I picked that they would not win because it's an away game, because Boston College has a better offense. But they pulled it out and got a win under all the controversy that's going on with the team. We believe that they're going to beat Alabama State, so we're going to go ahead and say that. But were you impressed by what they did up in Boston College?
I was actually. Now, I don't think Boston College is some great team or anything like that, but I thought they had been playing a little bit better offensively, especially. And I really thought Florida State was just going to kind of fold up the tent after they fired Willie Taggart. I saw a kind of player. I think they went out for the rest of the season, kind of just some mysterious injury. I thought it was kind of just I'm going to lay low for the rest of the season kind of deal. So I thought they'd fold up shop, but hey, they came out with an impressive win, did a good job. I think Boston College made a comeback in that game, but couldn't quite pull it off. So yeah, good win for Florida State, and I'm taking them this week as well, of course.
Another ACC matchup. This one, maybe not as cut and dry as you think. Virginia Tech travels to Atlanta to play Georgia Tech. Virginia Tech's one of those teams. This might be their championship phase. Eye on the prize. We just got to win out. And they could become your Coastal Division champions. What you got? Virginia Tech -5.5.
Look, Georgia Tech is actually surprising me with how much better they're playing here lately. They took Virginia to the wire. I think it was, a 5-point game or something like that on Saturday when the spread was, I think, -16. So that was a shocker for sure. But they've been doing much better. They haven't been getting a ton of wins. Yeah, they did have that win against Miami, but they haven't been getting a lot more wins. Still playing better. The Hokies are making a strong push, trying to get to the championship game, like you said. And I usually don't like to take the Hokies, but they're playing better football, and I think they found a little something. So I'm going to go with the Hokies to cover -5.5.
Okay, I like that. And I also picked the Hokies as well. I mean, if Pittsburgh can go down there and beat Georgia Tech by 10. Now, I know Georgia Tech kept Virginia within 5, so that was kind of my uh-oh. They played a good team close, but Virginia seems to be on the downslope right now.
Yeah.
And may end up losing that number 1 Coastal spot by the end of everything. Virginia Tech has a harder road, but Virginia may lose it. I'm going to go with Virginia Tech in this case. I think that they go down and probably beat Georgia Tech by 10. So give me -5.5. I think they'll clear that. I think they can win by 1 touchdown for sure. There's another one that's kind of hard for me. Syracuse at Duke. Syracuse, has a terrible defense. Got some injuries on that and they've lost a lot on the offensive line. Don't really have an identity offensively. But Duke as well is having a lot of trouble offensively. David Cutcliffe came out and said he didn't know what's going on with their offense. But Duke is -11 at home. That's kind of a scary number when it's double digits.
It is a scary number for sure, and they really disappointed me with a poor showing against Notre Dame. It's a game that I thought they could go in there and keep close. I thought their offense was going to be able to score some points on Notre Dame because you know how I feel about Notre Dame. I always think they're overrated a little bit every year for sure. But, call me a glutton for punishment because I'm going to take the Blue Devils again minus the points to cover against Syracuse.
Duke's lost 3 in a row, but they played some pretty decent teams. Notre Dame, UNC, Virginia. They're having a hard time scoring, as I said. They haven't scored over 20 points in over a month, which they're supposed to be a pretty decent offense, but they haven't been clicking it at all. Some of these games, I think it's one game was 7 points, one game was 14, one game was 17. They just can't really figure it out. Syracuse is that team, though, to get them back on track because Syracuse lets anybody score. My question is, can Syracuse keep it within 2 touchdowns? And I'm going to go with the underdog on this one now. I'm going to give me Syracuse plus the 11. I don't think with the way Duke can't figure it out right now, I don't think that they're going to win by 13 or 14. So give me Syracuse to lose, but Syracuse to cover. So that's what I'm going with there. Next up is Louisville at NC State. Before I get into that, though, Dan May asked a question about Clemson and Clemson versus Wake Forest. Dan, hold that thought, my man. We're going to talk about that specific question in segment number 3. So just hold on to it. We're going to answer that question. But the next game is Louisville at NC State. Louisville -3.5. This one, does NC State even have a team anymore?
Yeah, who really knows? Louisville has really disappointed me a little bit lately. I kind of thought they had their offense rolling a little bit. I kind of took them 2 weeks in a row, and I think they failed me both weeks. So I'm still going to take them, though. NC State, I'm going to say, is beaten up by the Clemson loss. I mean, Clemson obviously just hammered them this weekend. I think they had a couple of players dinged up coming out of that. So I'm going to take Louisville -3.5. Hopefully they can finally get me a win and get that spread total, up one more for me.
You're not going to get away from me on this one, Al. I'm going to pick Louisville as well. I think one play when I saw Clemson get a first down, and all of a sudden, 16 players were hurt on the field at NC State. I think they were all starters. A couple of I think they're basically playing some of their practice dummies right now out on the field. So NC State is a shell of what it used to be. Let's get into our ranked versus ranked, and we're going to hold the Clemson, the last ACC game, to segment number 3. But our ranked versus ranked, this is a fun one. Veterans Day. We're enjoying honoring our veterans today. And let's talk about number 24, Navy. I think these are old ranking numbers because ESPN was going by AP poll, and now Monday they're going by the football committee, and it hasn't updated till Tuesday night. So if my rankings are wrong, just forgive me there. But Navy at Notre Dame -9.5. What you got there?
Look, Notre Dame's been playing pretty well lately. Again, after they kind of made me look bad with, I think they beat Duke something like 38-7 this past weekend. It was not pretty. The Irish did very well, which I hate to see. But, even though Navy's given them a little trouble in the past, I just don't think this is the Navy team we've seen in the past. So I'm going to take the Irish to roll in this one and cover the spread.
I think you're crazy, Alan. I'm calling you on this one. This is one where we disagree. The midshipmen, Alan, you said they're not like what they used to be. They're not like what they used to be because they've passed 53 times this year, and last year they had only passed 25 times by the end of the season. So they've more than doubled their passing attempts. That's why they're not the same, but they're still clicking 42.4 points per game. Not so fast. If I had my Lee Corso pencil, not so fast on this one. I think if you give me 9.5, Navy loves to play Notre Dame close. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame, not just an average team, even though they have a number above their name, just an average team. And I think Navy goes in there, and I think Navy keeps it close. I'm not saying that Notre Dame won't win, but I think that Navy has the ability to run against anybody, as we know, but now they're able to pass a little bit more than they used to. So you got to watch out for that. I'm going to give me the veterans, and that 9.5, I will take it. Go midshipman on that one. 17 Minnesota at 18 Iowa. Iowa minus 2.5.
Yeah, look, plain and simple, give me the Golden Gophers after their big win, and a good offense against Penn State. Good offensive showing anyways against Penn State, who supposedly had a pretty good defense. I'm going to take Minnesota to take this one. I think they're going to get the outright win actually at Iowa, which is kind of crazy. I like to bet on Iowa a lot of times, but they're just not impressing me like I thought they would at the beginning of the year. So I'm going to take the Golden Gophers.
I will tell you this. 2.5. I know Iowa plays teams close, but they play bad teams close. I think Minnesota is better of a team than they have faced, even though it's in Iowa and it's a tough road game for sure. But are you kidding me? Give me Minnesota and the points. The Gophers might be coming off an emotional win. They might get that emotional win letdown, but I don't see it, man. They have their eyes on the prize. It's the championship phase. They see it ahead of them. They can't let down. And I think they go in there and, I'm going to take that 2.5 points for sure. After that, I think they have Northwestern, which, give me a Northwestern in the ACC.
Yeah.
Give me a Vanderbilt. Give me a Tennessee. Well, maybe not a Tennessee. Give me a South Carolina in the SEC or the ACC. I'd take them. But number 9, Oklahoma at number 12, Baylor. This is a big deal, Al, because Oklahoma, they're still trying to keep their hopes alive. Baylor, I believe, still undefeated after squeaking out that one this weekend. Yep. So Oklahoma, though, it's a home game, double-digit underdog for Baylor. Oklahoma minus 10.
Yeah, I'm not overly impressed by either team. I know they were kind of at the bottom half of my top 10. So I say not overly impressed. They're good teams, don't get me wrong. But they're not college playoff caliber teams, in my opinion. So I think Baylor has really played to their competition a lot this year. I'm going to take a motivated team at home to cover and kind of prove the nation wrong. So I think Oklahoma is going to win the game, unfortunately for them. I think they're going to kind of spoil the home crowd victory for them. But I'm going to take the Baylor Bears cover.
Not so fast. Something's up with Oklahoma's defense. They're starting to give away 40 points like it's everybody, like it's Halloween candy. Winning at home by only 1 point against Iowa State, making me worried. You know how I feel about 1 point losses, wins, 1 point wins, 1 point loss. You know how I feel about those 1 point games. I'm so chapped this year about a 1 point game. If Clemson wins the national championship, I'm putting up a tombstone in my backyard of that NC State or the UNC game. I'm telling you that because I'm so mad about that 1 point loss that Clemson didn't have. Rest in peace, that game. But I'm going to take Baylor in this case. I don't think that Baylor wins. I think that they have a good enough offense to hang with Oklahoma, a little bit better of a defense than Oklahoma. And so I'm going to go with that. 10 points for me is just enough. Vegas got me on this one. 10 points is just enough for me to take 10
it. Points.
Did
you just not so fast me and agree with me?
Yes. I did. I'm Lee Corso right here. I'm
just
Lee
wanted
Corso.
to make sure.
And the last game we have coming up, this is what they say, the big game, because it's the SEC game. I know a lot of my friends in church are going to say, what is Morgan going to pick here? It's the Dogs. Number 6, Georgia at number 11, Auburn. Georgia -3. So a little bit of a favorite going in. So Auburn's a little bit of an underdog at home. What do you think?
Look, I think Auburn knocks off the Bulldogs, out of the top 10 here. I think they get them out of the top 10 totally. They make the committee sweat wondering which SEC team to put in the playoff if Georgia were to come back and win the SEC championship with 2 losses. But I think Auburn knocks them off this weekend for sure. And I think they're going to have a tough time over there on the Plains. But it should be – I hope it's a good game. But I think Auburn gets the victory. I'm taking Auburn plus the 2.5, get the outright victory.
All right, you picked Auburn plus the point.
Plus 2.5, that's correct.
To win.
That's right.
Not so fast, Alan. Not so fast. I'm telling you right now. I just wanted to confirm. Not so fast. Auburn runs everything. Everything goes through the running game for them. Georgia has a really good running defense. Georgia was able to show what they could do against Florida. Georgia, again, eyes are on the prize. They're ready to go. They're going to keep pushing towards that SEC championship game. But I think that they knock out Auburn in this case. I don't really like Bo Nix. I don't think he can win tight games. I think this is going to be a close game. I think Georgia can win by more than a field goal, though. So give me Georgia, maybe 2 field goals in that case. Okay. And for all the Dog fans, Stephanie, Evan, and Cassie, if you're watching, go Dogs. All right, everyone, we have to take a quick break. Stay with us. When we get back, we're going to go over our review and preview of your Clemson Tigers and what they're going to do this week and what they did last week. Remember to check us out, The Morgan Thomas Show on Facebook, YouTube, The Roar, and wherever you listen to a podcast. We'll be right back after this.